Welcome to Game, Set and Chat, where we're serving up tennis talk every week to help you improve your game. Philip, week 3.
It's crazy.
Week 3, I feel like we're really flowing now. I feel like we're in a rhythm.
It almost feels like a New Year's resolution, right? Like how many episodes in will we actually make it?
Yeah. I feel good about it though.
Oh no, I know, because you've got it planned out through like August or something.
Yeah, we're so set.
We're slamming
so
it.
set.
Yeah.
The community feedback's been incredible.
Yes, it has been good.
I had Chris Welfare from last week's pod dedication reach out with a picture of my old racket
that's
with
amazing.
shiny green strings. So
That's amazing.
I think the next process here is for us to start uploading on social media and stuff. So we'll get that going in the next week or so.
And it was also hilarious because full bed of Polly's 56 pounds, and I'm like, oh my goodness, hitting with a board, like just swing a 2x4 at the ball.
And a boatload of lead tape at the very top of the frame, right? Swinging a hammer basically at that point. I remember that racket because I'm swinging it and it's very heavy to swing, but if you make good contact, that thing flies.
Yes, I mean, if you hit it with a frying pan, that's about what that racket feels like.
Absolutely. So we're on week 3, and this week is types of training.
Okay.
So the philosophy here is that a lot of people don't really understand what they're trying to put into their training throughout a week. So if you look at the various types of time spent on court doing various activities, I think we can enlighten some people this week to maybe find either a better balance for improvement, or helping gear people towards types of training that they might find more enjoyable in the sport. As some people spend time on court doing blank, and actually that's really not good for them because they don't like blank.
Yeah.
And 100%, it's about fun, right?
At our rec level, absolutely.
I mean,
if you're not having fun with tennis, then what are you doing, right?
I mean, even at a professional level, right? You look at those pros that they start to have those interviews where they seem a little bit low.
That's true.
They don't play very well.
I'm just saying, especially for us, because we're not getting paychecks, right? It's the opposite. We're paying for it.
Yeah. Fun is the priority.
Yeah.
So types of training. So we've got 5 types.
Right.
And I'm very passionate about, if you want to get better, and a lot of our podcast is about improvement, balancing these training types is going to be the way to do it.
Yeah, okay.
So let's go through them really briefly, and then we'll go through them in a little bit more detail. So training type 1, you're looking at intentional instruction and learning.
Okay.
So this would be your classic private tennis lesson.
Yeah.
Or for those of you that don't do private lessons, you might try and find something online to help you with your game. You
YouTube
might
videos,
study the game.
Podcasts.
Yes, absolutely. And you go, right, I'm going to spend an hour on court and I'm really going to think about something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's training type number 1. Some people spend their whole lives doing that.
Yeah.
But none of the other training types.
Right.
Training type number 2 would be drills.
Yeah.
This is practice. I like to kind of say, well, training type 1 is learning. Training type 2 is practice.
Yeah.
Spending time practicing. This is usually a little bit more up-tempo. You're trying to hit a lot of balls, practicing what you've maybe learned.
Yeah.
And you blend those two together and you're starting to develop a nice little training program.
Yes.
Number 3, and again, we'll go into all of these a bit later, would be friendly, fun competition. I like to call this application. So you've got learning, you've got practice, and you've got application. But friendly, fun competition is application in a enjoyable environment. You're not stressed out. You're not playing a USTA match. You're not playing at ITF.
It's hey, I'm trying to work, but you get a buddy out to hit, and you say, hey, I'm working on, my lobs today, and they go, cool. And so for the next 15 minutes, they let you just lob away. Without getting mad, and then maybe they're working on something, and so you flip it and go, oh, hey, for the next few minutes, you wanted to work on volleys, so I'm just going to stand here and hit them right at you while you come up and hit volleys, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 more. So then you have your competitive situation, your competition, right? So we've got learning, practice, application, and then we've got competition.
Yeah.
That's where you have to be able to stress yourself in an environment that really matters more competitive situation.
Yeah.
The fifth one, which is by far most people's favorite, but they don't realize how important it is, we'll get into it later, is free play.
Yeah.
So free play is, I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm out there swinging the racket,
Yeah.
trying anything I can possibly think of, having a great time.
Yeah.
All right? So those are our 5 training types, and I want to kind of get into them in a little bit more detail.
All right.
Let's start with learning, because I think a lot of people are thinking, well, I do that. Right? I go out there and I think about something, but learning tends to be really intentional and usually quite slow. Talk to me
Yes.
about your process with learning as a tennis coach, but also as a student of the game.
Yeah, so for me, the best approach I found, and I fully admit I lifted it wholesale from Ian at Essential Tennis, shout out. You know, when you're trying, especially when you're trying to learn a new skill, is the power of the drop feed. Because what you're essentially doing is removing variables, right? So for all my engineer nerds out there, you got to remove variables so that you can isolate. Right? Because when the ball's coming at you 30, 40, 50 miles an hour and it's coming off the court, and then, you know, there's wind or there's people next to you or whatever, or the coach is yelling swing high to low and all this stuff, there's just too many variables to isolate and work one thing. So I think really getting nitty gritty and diving down and working on the drop feed, simplifying. If you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast, right? So that's one thing. And then another is really, and this can be the hard part for some people, is if you let's say if you want your forehand to be better and you're working drop feeds and stuff, you should expect to just work that forehand for like 3 months straight.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Right,
goodness,
and
yes.
so just, you know, a lot of people when they want to come into the lesson and they're like, okay, we do some forehands, we do some backhands, we do some volleys, we finish with 10 minutes of serves.
They're like, oh, 10 minutes? I'm good to go.
I got everything together. I hit everything in this, and it's like that may be a good like reminder session, but I doubt that you really spend enough time on anything
Yes.
to really grind. And so my clients will know I like, if I can, to do an hour and a half,
Yep.
because then we can get the camera out, right? Because feel versus real.
Yep.
And we can really dial in and really grind on whatever potential, you know, skill, technique, or even tactic, right? If it's like, hey, I'm trying to go get used to being able to have the confidence to jump across and go for every ball.
Correct.
Then just getting 500 balls fed, you know, halfway across the
Yeah.
net while you go lunge for every one to find your range.
I think,
That's huge.
you know, with the learning process, intention, it's a lot more slowed down. And I think that's the point I want to make for people.
Yeah.
It's slower sessions. It's, hey, let's not rush into this. Hey, let's really take the time to understand what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Very, very intentional stuff. And sometimes, you know, that's not for everyone because they don't find that fun.
Correct.
And so I want to come at it from 2 perspectives today. One perspective is, look, to get better, to improve our game, we need this element in our training program. We 100% do.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to just have fun out there and you're like, you know what? I absolutely hate it when something is explained to me for 10 minutes and I really have to think about it in detail
Yeah.
and all that. You know, that might not be the right move for you to
Right.
enjoy your tennis. But expect that element to be very, very intentional, whether it's learning a tactic or a technique.
Yeah.
It's taking time to stop. Say, right, let's really explain this and get into detail with this.
And another good point, and this is something that people struggle with, is when you're in that frame of training, you have to change your definition of success.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because what you are not doing is, at that point in time, you are not playing tennis.
Correct.
You are not trying to get the ball over the net or get the ball in the lines necessarily. Whatever you and your coach are working on right then, that skill or technique or that tactic is what you were trying to accomplish. So if you can flip in your mind and when you execute the skill or you execute the tactic, that's when you give yourself the attaboy or the attagirl, not, you know, did I do it wrong, but the ball still went in, right?
Yeah, we call it process oriented versus outcome oriented. We tell people all the time, forget the sport of tennis for a second.
Yeah.
If you're working on let's say a forehand technique, forget the sport of tennis. You're learning how to swing the racket through mechanics of your body.
Yeah.
And you're trying to hit this thing technically perfect, forget whether the ball goes in or out for a sec. So we're trying to be process oriented.
And a little tip, if you have problems with that, instead of hitting towards the net, come and put yourself with your back to the net and hit towards the fence.
Yeah.
Because that way your brain doesn't see the net, it doesn't process the lines it's in or out. Typically, that'll then let you focus on whatever technique you're working.
Because some people have a really hard time of letting go of the white lines.
Right.
You know?
Really hard time.
Funny story on that. So I did tell one of my clients a few years ago, I said exactly that. I said, don't go on a tennis court, just hit into a fence or something. And the client came back to me and went, yeah, it took me ages to get all the balls back. And I was like, what were you doing? She was on a soccer field.
Oh.
She hit maybe 30 balls in the distance.
Oh my goodness.
Had to go and get them. So don't do that. Find a fence.
Find a fence. No, that's pretty funny though.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
If you know who you are, text him. You might be a bit embarrassed too, but I'd love to hear from you. So then it comes down to drills. Which I like to call practicing, right? So let's say you really feel good in that environment of the slowed down stuff with, you know, the ins and outs of it, you could explain it, you know the feel of it, you know, you've worked with your coach hard on it and stuff. We need practice, and that's repetition, repetition, repetition. I know you've got a really nice spiel on this, go for it.
Yeah, so repetitio mater memoriae, it's a famous Latin phrase, means repetition is the mother of memory. It means memory, all right, which means if you do it a lot, that's what you will remember. Doesn't mean that you're doing it right, and that you will remember how to do it right. And then you're
the classic, right? Is the classic. People say practice makes perfect, and that is far from the truth. Practice makes permanent.
Yes.
Right. So if you're practicing the wrong things over and over, you're going to get extremely good at those wrong things.
Right. So when you're doing drills, again, to relate to the first one, you have to be intentional about it. You can't just go out and just say, okay, I'm doing the drill, so I'm just slapping the ball around. You know, you got to realize whatever you're working on, the intent of that drill, you need to be hyper focused on that. Again, not necessarily am I winning a point or this, that, or the other, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, unless that's the point of the drill, but.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. So, you know, those stage 1 and 2 require good intention, and really all the way through requires good intention. I think that's going to be a key theme of today.
It will be.
If you want to get better at tennis, you have to be really intentional with how you're using your time and what you're actually doing when you're on court. I think practice makes permanent is a really nice way of thinking about it. If you can't remember the Latin, what's the Latin again?
Repetitio mater memoriae.
There you go. I think we need to have that written on t-shirts or something. People would be like, what is that?
My Latin professor from college would be enthralled.
Yeah, you send the pod to him, see what he says. So, you know, practice makes permanent. If you get enough repetitions at doing the right thing, you're going to have that muscle memory, and that's when you're really starting to fire. I think a lot of people, when we go over training types, are going to go, you know what? I have a private lesson every week, so I really get into that intentional, slowed down stuff. But then I go away and like, how much did I actually practice it? Like, how many repetitions did I actually get throughout the week? So again, when you talk about these training types, and I'm a really big, passionate person about balancing these throughout your week, because if you have instruction, then you need practice. You're leaving something on the table if you're not. Right? You really need the repetitions after the learning various.
If you don't have a buddy that you can go and hit with, a lot of people will say, well, can I go practice this in the ball machine? And again, back to our phrase, you absolutely can. But if you do 500 hits with the ball machine and you weren't intentionally and you weren't deliberate, you did it wrong, then you really just got better at the wrong thing, right?
Absolutely.
So ball machine can be great if you're very intentional with it.
You know, I tell a lot of people when they come to me and they say, hey, you know, I want to work on this, I want to work on that, and you very quickly establish, do they need the learning aspect of it? Do they need the instruction? Or do they need the repetition, right? And then you gear your lesson towards what they need. But hey, the green guy over there, the ball machine, is a lot cheaper than I am. So I think it's a good use of your time to book a ball machine once a week and get out there and practice what you work on.
And here's the other thing that can make the ball machine better. We all have these. They all have great cameras.
He's holding up a phone for those of you listening on podcast.
Get you a little, GorillaPod thing to hold it, right? so that you can record yourself, do 5 to 10 minutes, go back and look at the footage and see, like put on your coach's eye and say, am I executing what I'm trying to work on?
Yeah. And then that way you just check yourself so you're not having that practice makes permanent in a negative way.
Correct. You're not negative training. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then we're going to go to the one that I think people leave off the table a lot. It's kind of hit or miss. Some people really like this and do a bunch of it, and some people do not do any of it. And that is fun, friendly practice competition, right? With your application stuff.
Yeah.
So you're going out there and you're saying to a friend, hey, let's play a set. You know, this doesn't count for USTA, it doesn't count towards our UTR, our WTN, you know, our ITF points or whatever level you are. But we're gonna really be intentional with something, right? So I had my top ITF players the other day go out there and I said, right, you know, I'm gonna name someone who hopefully listens into the pod. He said he loves it, Tab Tuck. I said, you get one serve because he's working on high first serve percentage. So there you go, that's a variable that he can go out there and play an entire set with one serve. He's working on his high first serve percentage. I told Houston Jakes the opposite. I told him that he gets one serve at 40 when he hits 40 in his game, and I want him to hit it flat and as hard as he can because I want him to close out games with big serves.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, we get into the fine details of whys and all that. They're all training for individual aspects, but you can look at that. They're playing a set. Both of them are currently working on a couple things.
Yeah.
And that's huge, right? I know you go out there with people very often and work that, and I think people don't do that enough.
Doing it tomorrow morning, right? So my getting back and playing a little more singles rather than doubles, but in general, my game is very predictable and consistent. So coach over here has encouraged me to be a little more aggressive and everything. So when I'm going out and playing practice, in my head, I go out and say, I'll lose 6-0, 6-0, and they get a golden set, I don't care. But if I've been aggressive, even if I've missed the shot, then I go back and say, hey, that's what I was working on. As long as I continue to do that right thing, I will get better and more confident at it, and it will come along. Because it's a practice set, so you have to be okay with not winning to apply intentionally, again, there's our word, you know, whatever skill or tactic it is that you're working on, right?
And I think, you know, a lot of people, they go from learning and drills and practice, and then they go, right, I'm ready for a competitive USTA match. If you understand this, if you can't go out there and apply it in a friendly, fun environment without stress, then that bridges the gap to a competitive environment. You know, you could even take it progressively steps further. I've told people to do this before. I've said, okay, so you've learned it and you've practiced it and you feel really good about it, and you say, yeah, but I can't apply it in a match. So how do I bridge that gap? Which I think is a great thing to discuss, because a lot of people are like, well, in practice I'm really good, but in a match I'm not. So how do I bridge that gap? And I say,
totally feel that.
Do the following, right? Stage 1, find your best mate who you don't care losing to at all. Go play him. Practice against him in a fun environment until you're blue in the face, right? After that, find someone that you kind of okay with, but you really don't really want to lose to them. It's a little bit annoying, right? Play them, do the exact same practice. That's your next step to get to a real match environment. And then you've got 2 more steps. So then find the person that you don't want to lose to, that you cannot stand losing to. Play a practice match against them, because it doesn't count for USTA, so you're still bridging the gap. But good gosh, you do not want to lose to this person, and it's going to grind your gears. And if you can apply in that situation, you're one step away from being able to apply it in a USTA match.
Yeah.
The 4th one, put something on it.
Yeah.
Put something on your practice matches, whether it be a beer with a friend, whether it be if you're a junior, a silly little forfeit.
Right.
If you're, some of our more high-flying people, maybe put some burpees on it.
All right.
Philip knows I love a little burpee punishment, because you say to someone, hey, burpees for the loser, and before you know it, boom, you start to see more of that match pressure or more of that match mode. There's something about a burpee that just people, oh my God, you say push-ups or squats, you say burpees, they look like they're about to throw up. So, yep, that's your progressions, and I think a lot of people don't spend enough time going out there and having fun with friends, but applying.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So then we get on to our competitive stuff.
Yeah.
again, we try and spread out these throughout the week. We try and make sure we have enough of them. Some people only play matches.
Yep.
And they build such bad habits because they're leaving off the table some of these other things to improve their game. If you only play matches, you're not actually getting better because you're not learning new things. You're not really getting the repetitions of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you can improve.
You're getting better in a match environment. You're getting smarter. You're making small improvements. But I really believe that
But there's some things that are very tough to just start doing in matches. For example, let's say most of us are playing USTA. Most of us are playing some doubles. Of course, we have our single specialists, but a lot of it is doubles, right? Well, so when we come in and we do some drills with people and we talk tactics and we say, hey, here's the situation why you'd want to go to I formation, or here's a situation where you want to flip it and go to Australian. Okay, if you've only done that in a clinic and now you're in a match, like a USTA match situation, but you haven't really let yourself experiment with it in that competitive play, how confident are you going to be to really go, oh man, this is way out of the norm.
Yeah.
Let's totally flip this and feel weird and awkward with it, right?
And how mentally ready are you
to do it, right?
To be able to go, right, Australian, and hold up a sec, that means you go here and I go there, and wait, what's that thing? And you have to be really comfortable before you then go throw it in a match.
Right.
So if you're only playing matches and then you say, right, I want to experiment with Australia, how are you learning that in the middle of competitive play?
Yeah.
Right,
it's very tough in the middle of that to then just say, oh, let's throw this in there. But if we haven't really drilled it, or not even drilled it, but like you said, thrown it out there in a competitive play where we're like, hey, let's play Australian the whole match, and if we lose 6-0, 6-0, who cares? But we're going to get good at this Australian thing. We're going to understand what benefits, what negatives, like what we have to work around, when we should do it, so that when you do want to do it in a competitive situation, it's like it should immediately go, oh, this is the reason, now we should do this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
And I think as much as some people only do competition, there's a lot of people that leave competition way off the table. Maybe it's scary to them. Yeah. Maybe it's, maybe they just don't like putting themselves in that position from a pressure standpoint. And it's, nervy. We get people in our tournaments every year that go, I don't really want to play club championships. I don't really want to play Jack Frost. I don't really like that environment. And again, we're coming at it from two perspectives today. Perspective one is, how do I get better? How do I improve my game?
Yeah.
You have to have competitive match play
every
single week or every single month if you want to improve your tennis. You have to put yourself in that environment, right? The sport of tennis is going out there and playing a match that counts for something.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just out there for fun, and you're like, I'm really just out here to enjoy, I'm okay leaving some improvement off the table, and it's not for me, then we're actually here to tell you,
that's perfectly fine.
Don't do it.
Right.
There's also people that I've had that come to me, and they go, oh, I'm in so many teams, and I don't find this fun and that fun. If you don't find it fun, don't do it. Right? Absolutely don't do it.
Yeah.
So, but if you're looking for improvement, that has to be on the table. And then let's talk about free play, because free play is the one that a lot of people just don't realize is so important. I would credit a lot of my abilities and things I can do and my creativeness on a tennis court to those endless hours on summer holidays with my best mate just messing around on a tennis court.
Yes, experimentation time.
Yes, absolutely. And
how do you develop the hands to know you've got the cut, drop, spin thing right there? Well, you're out goofing off, you're not even keeping points, you're just hitting the ball back and forth, and you get a short ball and you come half in the middle of the court and you're like, I'm still drilling this, I'm just going to try the little scooper.
Yeah.
You do it a few times, you're like, oh, all right, cool.
Exactly.
I can do that yet, right?
Or vice versa, you get a short ball and you go, I'm going to hit this thing as hard as I can.
I'm going to rip it.
Right? Because no one cares.
No one cares.
I'm playing some music, I'm just going to hit this thing as hard.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you do that enough times and you kind of learn what you're capable of, and most people are capable of far more than they think.
Right.
But they never put themselves in a free play environment to where it really doesn't matter. You could argue that, some of our clinics are free play environments, but sometimes more drills, or you could argue it's not free play depending on how you approach it, because a lot of people are like, hey, I don't want to let my partner down in this. But you get out there in a situation that you really don't care, oh my goodness, you can learn so much about your game and you can get so much better.
And a lot of times you'll end up doing stuff, and then that's when everybody just turns and looks and giggles, right? And just has a good laugh, and then it can be really fun. And again, it brings it back. If you're working on your game, you're doing all these things. It can be easy to lose a little bit of the joy because you can feel like, okay, I'm grinding, I'm working. So free play is a good way to just get back that joy, right? Like start it off. If this is your thing, have a couple of drinks, have a beer, you go back and sit on the side, and you're like, oh, we're going to go out and I'm just going to lob you to death, and you're going to get pissed off, and just have a good time with it.
Absolutely.
Right?
If I was to make a schedule, so someone comes to me and we're going to do 3 different levels here, Philip. So level 1 is, a beginner. They say, look, I just want to play once or twice a week. I don't have much time to give to this, but I want to get better and I want to know how to do it. Understand you can put these training types into the same session time on court, right? So, let's say that you've got 2 sessions a week and both are an hour long. In session 1, you do a little bit of learning, right? You watch a YouTube video or something on the basics. You hopefully speak to someone trustworthy who steers you in the right direction.
Yeah, hopefully you've watched the right YouTube videos.
But, and you do a little bit of intention, and then you do a little bit of drilling, and you say to a friend, right, can you hit it here for me, or can you hand feed me for a second, right? Can you just toss some balls for 10, 15 minutes? And in that same session, you do some learning, you do some practicing, and some drilling, and then you do some competitive situation with it, right?
Yeah, play a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And then
exactly, and you try and work on it.
And after the end of the tiebreaker, then you just go, cool, let's just turn our brains off, hit and giggle, right?
There you go. So you've got 4, you even got free play at the end, right? So in the same session, you've got 4 of them.
Yeah.
And then in your second session of the week, maybe you go, let's play a set.
Yeah.
Let's play something competitive.
Yeah.
And let's try and put some pressure on it. And okay, it's maybe not USTA, but like that for them might be USTA, right?
Well,
so
especially if if it's social, then you, like you say, you put, loser buys the drinks. Or,
there you go.
You put a tenner on it or whatever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a massive advocate for stuff like that. I think that makes everyone a lot better, to be honest.
You're on clay. Loser sweeps the court.
Yeah, perfect. So, that's your beginner. You got 2 sessions a week there, and you're set up for improvement. Absolutely. You're set up for success by being intentional with your types of training and the structure.
Yeah.
Then your mid-tier player, your rec tennis player, you're well into the swing of it. Maybe you have 5 hours a week on court, like maybe in that 5 to 10 range, but let's just say 5, right? So you got 5 sessions a week, well, you got 5 training types. You could easily do a session on each.
Yeah.
Or you could say, right, on a Monday I do these 2, on a Wednesday I do these 2, on a Friday I do this one. You try and balance them out.
Yeah.
I really am an advocate for balancing. If you have all these elements in your weekly training schedule, you will be successful getting better.
Yeah, you'll improve quicker than just overbalance, like, I'm taking lessons twice a week and then I play a USTA match.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Massively. And that's what I want to get out to people is how to structure their weeks. Let's talk about it from a high level. Okay? You just extrapolate that same formula and you just double, triple it, or quadruple it depending on your level. You're looking at your pro tennis players, maybe they're giving 20 hours a week, probably doing 4 hours for each of these.
And at that level, my guess would be at that level, what gets left off the table is free play.
Absolutely, because at that point they get, hey, every hour on court needs to be the most serious thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
And so it's important if you're at that level to include the free play. I will say this, at that level, it's probably a good idea at the end of every session to do 15, 20 minutes of free play, and maybe not give an entire session to free play where you're just out there messing about.
Yeah.
Maybe on your off day, if you go out there with a friend and you just hit around on a Sunday, that's fine. But you're right, that does get left off the table a lot. And if you're, looking to go college tennis, ITF and stuff, right, I will tell you, free play is going to help.
Yeah.
100%. It's going to bring back the joy of tennis. You're going to experiment with some things that maybe you weren't brave enough to do. And it kind of takes that edge off that constant training regime.
Helps from burnout, I would imagine. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's it from an improvement standpoint. Let's just finally go back over from a fun standpoint. Because we get tennis players that go, I love to learn.
Yeah.
And I don't care at all about a match.
That's pretty much me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You would spend your time gearing it towards those training types, right? Because that's how you find it fun,
Yeah.
right? And then some people are like, I just love to compete. I just love to go out there and see if I can beat someone.
Yeah.
Gear it more towards that. You might sway those factors a little bit, but I think our podcast today, why I'm excited for this one, I think this might be one of the ones I'm most passionate about, because I think if you can separate those 5 factors and think, okay, well, how do I spend my week?
Yeah.
I think we can give people the tools to enjoy their tennis more or to improve their tennis
Yeah.
more and to get what they want out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, always with anything, if it's a true passion, it's a hobby that you really want to improve at. Like with anything, there's going to be parts of it that maybe are the ones that you don't like the most, but you still need to throw those in there.
Yeah.
I personally don't like competition all that much. I still play my USTA matches, right?
Yeah.
Because I know to really improve, that needs to be part of it, right? So even though that's my
Absolutely.
least favorite, I still do it because
improvement is
it
what
does
you're trying to
improve.
get out.
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
game.
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. Good. I really like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Philip, trivia time.
All right.
Trivia time. Now, after my
I was about to say, do you have the answers correct?
yeah, after my debacle week 1, I really made sure I studied up for this.
Because I was on point last week.
Yeah, that was a good one. And I liked your bonus last week, so I kind of took a little bit of that, and I have a little bonus for mine too.
Dad, shout out to my dad. He actually is like, oh, I had the T2000. It was hot stuff back in the day. He hit me up, yeah.
We need to get a picture. Does he still have it?
Oh, no.
No shot, no
Yeah.
shot. Okay, so our trivia question of today, so we're speaking about those different training types, right? And so we try and link our trivia in. I quite like that. So competitive match play. Philip, what I'm asking you is how many competitive official matches did Yannick Sinner play in 2025 season? So over the course of January to December. Now, I'm going to give you a plus or minus 5.
Last year.
Okay.
So last year.
Last year, he's healthy all year, just give you that,
Yeah.
right?
He
So
was out for 3 months.
I also want you to know that you get a bonus if you can get either his record or his win percentage. Again, I'll give you some leeway, like win percentage within 5, up
Okay.
or down.
Last year, I would guess he probably played.
You want to think about it for a sec? Because I like that for the viewers and the
I want
listeners.
to say 60 matches.
That's incredible. I think for the listeners, it's interesting to hear a perspective of like how many matches do professionals play, right?
Yeah.
Like how many matches a year? And then maybe they go back and they say, well, how many matches I play? Some of our listeners might play more matches than Yannick Sinner.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
That might be a bit of a issue if you're trying to improve.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to spend some more time elsewhere. And some of our listeners go, I'm nowhere near that. Your guess was what?
I would say somewhere in the 60s, 60 matches.
There you go. I'm going to give him the trivia point this week because he played 64 matches.
Boom.
So Philip, there you go. You know your stuff. Now, can you guess a record? It's 64 matches. Can you guess his record or a win percentage?
Last year, I'm going to guess he probably went.
If you get this right, I'm going to be.
I want to say he had a
Scared.
good year last year. I'm going to go 90% win percentage.
He's spot on. He's spot
Yeah,
on,
he
which
had a
is
good year last year.
which is 58 and 6.
Yeah, 58 and 6.
Philip, high five.
Yeah.
That's
good
actually
year.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, 90 point something
Yeah.
win percentage.
Yeah.
If any of our
Yannick's my man.
yeah,
He's a coach. He's like, love watching out aside, but love watching Alcaraz. The joy of the game, the creativity, but as a sort of coach, how should you like go play some tennis? Just X's and O's. Go watch Yannick Sinner.
absolutely. Oh my goodness, it was a shame about his recent French
Yeah,
Open, but
yeah.
you know these things happen at a high level. The little variables or something. I'm sure we'll find out more in due course as to what really happened there. But what I will say is, wow, what a true pro and what a role model. Do you see the way he handled everything?
Yeah.
Just beautifully,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And so that's why I'm such a big fan of
Yeah,
him.
he's-
It's the
yeah.
role model for the juniors and the way he handles himself. And I could go on all day about it. But that win percentage, huh?
It's crazy.
You take 90%. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what 64 matches in a year for the top professional tennis player. If you're listening to this and you go, let me look at my record and you played 100 and something, that's a lot of
That's a
matches.
lot of
You may
matches.
really need to think about how you're spending your time and burnout and physicality and all that kind of thing. Are you really able to give your all for 100 matches?
Again, assuming your goal is improvement.
Yes.
If you don't care, but if you just want to go out and just love being out there and playing matches, and that's where you get your joy,
Play as many as you want.
crush it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there you go. Pod preview for next week. The pod preview. So next week, I think it's going to hit home for a lot of people. It's the psychology of match play. Psychology of match play episode. So tune in for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to tune in because I definitely need help on that. So.
Psychology of match play. I have a big background
I'll
in sports
definitely be here.
psychology. So
I'm going to watch next week.
There you go.
I'm here.
Philip's also one of the biggest fans of the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
As we all are.
Watch it every week. It's great.
Pod dedication for this week. We talked about free play. I'm going to pod dedicate. I really liked how I reached out to Chris Welfare from last week's pod dedication. He got back from me. Matt Rogers, week 1, he got back to me. I'm going to keep reaching out to these people, blast from the past. But the name David Oldham, free play when I was growing up. He used to pick me up in his car. We used to go to a court and we used to just spend hours just messing around. Just hitting the ball all over the place. And I appreciate David because he was in his 20s and I was in my teens and I couldn't drive, so it's nice not to have to cycle places occasionally. Yeah. So I appreciate it. David Oldham, I'm going to give you a shout out and I'm going to send this pod to you, see if you get back to me. Haven't spoken to you in many a year. And there you go. Quote. I always like to leave with a quote. This is not a tennis player quote, but I just love it. It's It's Gary Player.
Yeah.
And he says, you know what? The more I practice, the luckier I get. And I love that. And I think that's a good one to leave everyone with. So, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Game Set and Chat. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We'll see you next time. Until then, just keep swinging.